parking in the parking where management and visitors were. So we do not have no space for us to park. And we can't park on the sides of our buildings because, people coming around the corner, coming in on the bin very fast. And you know what? We're not going to get our cars sideswiped either.
Right.
So
Okay,
those
thank you.
first four parkings are management parking. We didn't want to put management or reserve there. It was just no parking because nobody gives us the respect to allow us to have a parking system. Otherwise, I want parking in some, and that's not there too. Though they see that we don't have a parking, but it's common courtesy. So it's become management has to have the first four parkings, and then the other three parkings that are there, they're actually assigned to apartments now because these previously tenants didn't have parking and now they have cars. So now we had to add those, take away from the visitors to make sure that they were accommodating an apartment.
And the reality is that the management parking is available for visitor and off hours, correct?
Yeah, that would be the idea of it. Yes, but we're gonna have to put a sign up too, indicating that between these hours or whatever. Because when we come in the morning at 7, if Anna comes in the morning, she's there at 7ish. She needs to have a parking, and that's not the likelihood of it happening. If it's not stated.
No, yeah, I mean, I think that having to do the signage there is important, and again, it's a logical way to hit it. And it's if you're gonna, I don't think visitors should in general be parking overnight anyway. I mean, I know that does happen and is right, but it's tricky there.
But yeah, it is kind of tricky. That's why we put it as no parking, so that people got the gist that don't park there because you'll get towed.
Yeah.
Now, someone we know is coming there, maybe like a prospective tenant or something to that nature would be coming to sit with us or whatever, or tenant. We would let them know parking and no parking, so we can see them or whatever. So there's a parking.
I would say though that there does need to be the signage, and then again with parking being as valuable as possible, to have 4 slots that are taken out of the parking mix, except for the when all we need is 50 hours a week and they're taken out of the mix for the rest of the time, is probably not good. And without the signage, I don't know how people know that and know they're supposed to be out by 7 or avoiding things. And again,
that's why we could do a call, Max, and we could send a note up to the households also. That's the following to follow up with it. That just happened today, so yeah, we just did that today so that we made sure that, because like for me, I didn't even get a parking today. I had to park in a tenant's parking when I came in.
Yep.
So. But we could get the message out. We'll send notices to the tenants, as well as we will make sure, because we also got to reinforce the fact that they are parking more than 2 hours in visitors. So it's about reinforcement going forward. But once we have the numbers down completely, that's when we will follow through with that and making sure that it's consistent. Then we could go ahead and say, oh yeah, we're going to start, towing people and stuff like that.
Okay. Any other items under, as while we're on parking, any other items under the parking that you want to make us aware of, or we should be aware of?
No, that's it for me.
Any other questions from commissioners just under parking, or should we move on to management report?
I would say that we need to be probably very clear if we're going to put signs up, and not just to call Max, because people say, oh, I didn't get it, or they didn't understand it, or they forgot it. But if there's a sign that says like no parking 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. kind of thing, and outside this, so that might be a way of communicating that.
That's a good idea.
I'd
also put something in the sign that indicates it's reserved for management during that time, so that people don't assume somebody's simply ignoring the sign.
Right.
Well, it could say we just put down no parking right yet, but it has space for us to put the reserve on top of it. Reserve, no parking. But there's no like management parking or signage for that, like that nature.
I would say reserved for office, 7 o'clock until 5, something like that. I mean, I wouldn't call it management, but I mean, reserved for office or something like that.
Mhm.
Because the no parking, again, I think people will end up, it'll be no parking, if people get confused under the no parking part. And then there's people parking there and then everyone does
Yep.
blow it off and says it doesn't work. But you guys can experiment. I mean, you guys figure it out, which will be fine.
Yeah, well, it said no parking and then reserve.
I'd
So
say
display no
I'd
parking
say
there.
reserve, I mean, probably the wrong wording, but something like reserved for office, 7 a.m., 7 a.m. till 5 p.m., something like that.
Okay.
And then people would figure out on the weekends that doesn't, they'll figure that out on their own.
It's kind
I would
of
hope.
like a snow plow or a loading zone kind of thing. They'll say weekdays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. don't park here, kind of thing.
Yep.
Weekdays, 6:30 or I would say 6 to 7 if they come in early. Make sure that they're out, so they're not going to park there overnight. Or if they
Yep.
do, they better be out by 6.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
Why don't we move on to management report? So who's talking to us?
Can you guys hear me? It's Rick.
We
Yep.
can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. So we sent along the reports, the AR reports, the budget updates, as well as the just our property report, and the work order reports. And the things of note are that budget is slowly improving. It's a slow improvement, but we are improving. As is the AR balances. You notice the big one, which is phase 2, is down to 84 now. So we've gone from like whatever it was, 130 down to 120, down to 100, down to 84 now. So we are making some progress with that. And at the same time that we've made some progress with that, Amy and I have made good progress with the vacants. We're down to 3 vacants. We were up to 6 or 8, I think it was at one point. So that's been helpful in terms of getting income in the door as well. And Amy and Anna are also reaching out to the local housing authorities, which the big 3 for us would be Danbury, Stamford, and Norwalk, in terms of trying to get our opportunity in front of voucher holders so that we could get some increased rent relative to the tax credit. So that's generally what's going on as far as financials are concerned, and as far as the property, the vacancy is concerned. The other thing that I can report is I had a fairly long conversation with Byron Porter from M&T Bank last week. Yeah, he was questioning, kind of where we were as far as finances are concerned. And, I kind of went through in detail everything that we're working on, and he was pleased with what we're working on, and I think was relieved as well, because he was getting a little bit concerned. So I think we've I spent enough time explaining what's going on with Byron from M&T that I think they're fine. They are going to come out and do a site visit as well, just as a checkup, like a wellness type visit. And we also discussed, by the way, Canaan Parish in that same call. So we're able to address both properties with M&T Bank. So I think we're in decent shape as far as M&T is concerned. So that's in a nutshell what I have to report, and I'll answer any questions anybody might have.
I have a question, though we can possibly get into it later. On the AR report, what does it mean to be a non-active tenant?
Yeah, Anna, are you on the call? Because Anna made that
Yes.
note today. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Anna. Can you answer that?
Yes, so when Rick, when you pulled out the report, you have non-active tenants and active tenants. So you didn't put active.
Oh,
the
I didn't
non-active
filter it
tenants-
properly. Sorry.
That is correct. So those are tenants that already have moved out.
Sorry, that
non-
was just Yeah, that was just a filtering. When I printed the report, I just didn't filter it enough to get the tenants that moved out that would appear on the report off of the report. My apologies.
Thank you. And then what are the vacancies that we have, or what size units?
Right at this moment, we have a 3-bedroom, which is, has an appeal on it. And then you have a 2-bedroom. And we just got another 2-bedroom as of yesterday.
Shoot.
And we have a 1-bedroom that will be being released by the court. So we have one coming up, a 1-bedroom. So it hasn't even hit our system yet because we don't have access to it. So right now it's the a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 2-bedroom that just happened. And then it's gonna be a 3-bedroom.
Okay.
We'll be
Thanks.
back up to 4 then.
Yeah, but I already have applicants that are coming in already. I already had
Great.
sat with 2 people today, and one of them is actually has to come back tomorrow and bring the rest of her documents.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
when you say there's an appeal, what does that entail?
That we have with the applicant that is originally was gonna take the apartment, she has to appeal her decision because we were gonna decline her. But her stuff is dealing with a credit situation, so it's going to be where we have to use discretion and see where we can go with her.
Okay.
Because she's providing documentation showing that she took care of this already.
Any news on the elevator?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
supposed to be coming
yeah.
out on the 18th, hopefully, God willing,
Yeah.
because that's a problem.
So we ran into a second problem with the elevator, which was once they got it up and running with the part that we were waiting on, they discovered that a second part on the elevator was also fried with the power surge. So we have to now replace 2 parts on it at a cost of almost 10 grand. And so it brings up a subject that we don't need to get into in detail now, but I need to figure out how we can investigate and hopefully solve this power surge issue that we have at the property, because it's continually causing issues with elevators, appliances, things that are not small dollar items. The key fob system goes down routinely because of it. So I don't profess to understand why it's happening or what exactly is happening, but I feel like it's something we need to figure out.
Could we consult an electrical contractor to have them check that out?
We did. We actually had a contractor in, and they were just, their comment was it's just dirty power coming in and you're getting surges, but they don't know why. The surges are coming from the utility side, and at least that's what we're being told by the contractor. So I really don't know the answer to it. So the only thing I can think to do at this point is to maybe engage an electrical engineer to investigate it, or at least talk with them to see if they think it's something they can investigate to try and figure out.
Well, I mean, instead of investigate it, well, there's 2 parts. It's always tricky when, of course, you don't have a lot of money, but odds are that they're correct that it's dirty power coming from the street. I don't know whether or not Eversource has any sort of resources in order to try to deal with that, or if they have any sort of grants toward like affordable housing groups that they can deal with it. But I mean, typically, the only real solution is you got to put in some sort of a surge protector onto the buildings, and,
Right.
and not necessarily easy or cheap once you're already built. Some might be, and again, it doesn't have to be like a full uninterrupted power thing or anything else. It's just something in order to take that blow when the surge comes through.
Yeah.
It does strike me as unfair that again, the power company can provide us with crap, but of course, I don't know. I mean, other buildings, I don't know if anyone else is reporting any of this. And again, most homes don't have that same level of mechanical equipment that is expansive. lightning strikes are really the only other cause.
Right.
But anytime there is a storm, we're always getting hit. It's like we're targeted.
Do we have a lightning protection system at all on the buildings, on the tall ones?
Probably not.
I mean, it might be worth having an engineer come out and take a look at it and see what it would be to clean up, to even clean it up at the transformer or the first feed. Are they all fed independently, independent transformers on them? I don't know what the site looks like on that aspect.
As we keep talking, I'll just sort of see if there's and there's people that just do the surge protection systems, and again, you can either engineer them all the way out, or you can go ahead and put in, just put in something that's likely to work. And most of the time, what's likely to work is good enough, and you save the engineering. Sometimes that's a bad bet.
Especially the low voltage stuff, because that gets expensive when it blows
Okay.
out.
Okay, so Rick, I don't know if I'll see if again I have anything to start with, but I don't know if anyone else inside of your, in your industry circle might have any ideas or thoughts as to who could do something or.
Yeah, I'll talk with the engineering, the MEP firm that we use a lot on our projects, because we're engaged with a project with them right now, so I can call them and ask them just for some advice, some free advice.
Exactly.
Okay. So I will do that. And aside from that, are there any other questions I can answer on any of the reports?
I mean, clearly, getting our AR cleaned up is great. Reducing the vacancies is great, and those things are all just so important with trying to, trying to go ahead and keep ourselves, in the black.
Right. We are trying. So, Amy, do you have anything in particular that you want to point out on the property report?
No, not really. I mean, everything we're meeting everything that is coming up, and whatever, we've been keeping on top of things. We're going to be doing the filters again. Like I was every 6 months. So in October, the end of October, we'll be doing that. We ordered them, the filters for the buildings. Other than that, everything's just coming along as we planned. And we just keep on trying. We get little hiccups in the way sometimes, we have to go and do something else. But other than that, we're trying to keep on track with things.
I haven't driven over there in the last week or so, but have the old signs, the old direction signs been removed? Are they still sitting, like the little bitty ones that say mill, mill and that type of thing? Are they?
Well, the little signs when you first come in, I think he left them there because they don't take away from the others.
Okay, I just wonder whether, just to eliminate some of the noise, the visual noise that people are gonna be looking and trying to figure out where they are.
I get what you're saying. Okay, well, I could speak with him tomorrow about that and could pull them.
Yeah.
And we can also look potentially, I mean, addressing the question, I guess it was Wendy talking about the lighting. The solar lights, we don't have any power out at the street, and it would be quite involved to get it out there. But if it remains a problem, we can do that, or we can sort of invest in a heavier duty solar. But when it's cloudy like that, it's going to have a hard time charging. The main entrance sign would probably be easier to get some light there, and maybe just even like a piano light or something type of fixture over it that would read at some kind of downlight that would eliminate some of the reflective glare. We hope
on the side where the drive is, if the street light is on, that side is excellent to read. It's just on the pond side that just kind of, it's not that great. So that would,
it's also, it's the north side of the sign. So even just getting, solar charging on that side is tough.
Yeah.
We kind of try to position it where we get it, but it's not perfect.
Yeah,
So-
and then we did have this string of really dark days, and so that's
Mhm.
also adding to that. But
And we'll keep an eye on it, though. We'll keep an eye on it.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I have another, just because other people may want to know, are the generators hooked up? Or is there,
Well, Eversource was out
Where-
here today on the,
pardon?
Eversource was out here today in regards to the generators. I know they were out here today. They were checking and surveying where we have them. I know he spoke more with Gunnar on it because Gunnar knows exactly where they are.
Mhm.
So, but it's still working. They're still working on everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the things they're still
Yeah.
working on is the gas service to the generators.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's what they were talking about with the piping today, where they're located and where they're going to be attached onto. So that's what they were working with.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have anything else to talk about before we leave it, go to executive session? All right, that point, thank you guys for visitors for attending, appreciate it. And we're gonna go to executive session, so if you guys could drop, that'd be great.
Okay, and thanks again for the signage, just, and everything else. Just like Cindy says, things,
Nice job.
everything staff has to do is,
Great job. Scott, we should think about combat pay for these people.
Don't give them ideas, wait.
we just have to wish people would behave better. Oh, yeah, sure. We can always,
never realize,
Wishful
you know.
thinking, wishful thinking.
All right, thanks a lot, team.
thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you,
Bye
Wendy.
now.
All right, and first off, any updates on the SWAT team and DCF and throwing garbage and all that stuff?
Alrighty. Yeah, well, it was in the newspaper as well. But I found out also after the fact, because it wasn't like something they directly made it. The community liaison is on vacation, so she didn't know about it until when she came back. So that's when I found out about it. It seems to appear that one of the tenants' son came to visit. He was off his meds and attacked the father, and pulled out a gun on him, and that's why they were here
Ugh.
for that SWAT team. Then for DCF, we have one of our tenants. She does have a lot on her plate, and she has her children, very, very small children. So she saw her door was left open to her apartment, and she's like on a duplex type deal. So she had a knife in her hand when the cops arrived, because she was like, I don't know if someone else is in this apartment. I have my 3 kids here. I'm here to, she's protecting her kids, so to speak. She said they did have body cameras on, so she's fighting that right now. And at the same time, she's getting assistance to pay her rent. So that's a good thing. So yeah, with that being said, she's in the process of trying to retain her kids back. The kids are with the grandparents and not like in the system. So that's a good thing. Other than that, there's really not that much we can do about it, but she had a knife in her hand, and that's why they took the kids away. But she was there thinking someone had broken into her home. Meanwhile, her husband didn't realize when he didn't pull the door shut, closed, the door was left open, ajar. So this is what we're dealing with. But it is what it is. But all we can do is just, hope they get reunited. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep. And do we even know anything about throwing garbage on someone's car, or was that just a weekend thing?
Yes, that was the other thing. Yes. And I found out about that the day after, of course. I didn't, and Cindy told me actually that it happened. Because I saw her at the mailbox. I came out to get mail, and Cindy had came, and she's the one that initially told me. And then the person that that it happened to came and told me, but he parked in someone's parking that he shouldn't have parked in because someone else was parked in his parking. So that's what took place. And I did mention to the tenant that did the vandalizing that that's not allowed. And he's got a letter, so that's one strike against him.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a disabled elderly person that, you know, feels that his parking is his parking and he's been that parking for the longest. His caretaker parks in there for when she has to pick him up and take him to his visits and stuff like that, you know, doctor's appointments and so forth. But the parking is not a parking that someone's there all day, every day. So I guess the gentleman thought it was okay for him to park there, and no, he got trashed.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I need a bulletproof vest yet? Nah, I don't think so. I think we'll be okay. Oh, no, yes. And then there was the other issue. We had Troop G came on to our complex and let us know that there might be a fugitive on our property because they keep the person that someone shot someone in Bridgeport, came down over here, I guess, and they're following the trail and trace of the phone and it's pinging off in our property. So he was asking, did we see these guys, this guy and the girl? The girl, I remember seeing her. She did try to apply for an apartment, but I don't have any information. She never came back to drop the application back off. She just took an application. So yeah, I didn't have really much of an answer for him at that point. It would be only like a handful of tenants that they could probably visit. But you know, that was that. But he said if we see this particular, you know, characters, to call Troop G immediately. That was it.
All right. On the more mundane,
Yeah.
any updates under our AR list of favorite tenants? You know, is anyone that, you know, assume that we're in legal? I mean, again, I think there's good notes on everything. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So I just got in. I just got an email. Well, I should be getting another email from another United CT. So it's 2 of the tenants that are up in phase 2. 413 got approved, pre-qualified of eligibility. I just got to fill out the paperwork for him through United CT, and I guess this is the eviction prevention fund. I don't know how much he owes, but they're pre-approving him for 18,500.
All right.
Craziness.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to see. I just got it. I just printed it that I saw it while I was on the phone with y'all. So I'm gonna check out his account and send these paperwork back to the worker on this that's dealing with the eviction prevention fund. I think also we have another young lady too. Her name is Tammy Platt. This the one that this is for is Henry Loomis, which is apartment 413, and then you have the other one. They haven't gotten any paperwork for her, but I'm not sure if anybody else got anything yet. So I'm gonna follow up with what she gave me, a contact person's email. So I'm gonna send it over to him and see if he responds back to me. Otherwise, I'm gonna deal with this guy that's on this case already for this guy Loomis and see if they have her case as well. So Tammy Platt also applied for United CT eviction prevention fund. I don't know how much she's going to be entitled to. Also, she's with persons to persons. I sent their paperwork to back up that, as well as community action. So she's trying to get assistance from everywhere, and majority of it probably would come from United CT, but the little trickles in for 500 there, 600 there will come from those other agencies. But they are both actively working on getting that, as well as the young lady that her kids were taken away, Rejoice Moynihan. She also is in process with DSS is going to help her with a portion. Person to person is going to I think giving 500 or 600, and the same thing with community action, 500 or 600. They're going to try to help her with, and I think it's 1 month's rent. Basically, the accumulation is of. She did come in with payment, and she'll be coming in with another $800 payment this coming week. So I think she'll be up to date. and then she needs to just keep it consistent. But she's one of those people that she falls behind. Her husband loses his job. She's working only, and it's a cycle. It's a real bad cycle for her.
No, I mean, a whole lot of these are, there's clearly some bad actors, and it looks like you've managed to get a couple of the bad actors out, which is great. So at least that bleeding stops. And it looks like we're in legal with the vast majority of the other ones, and then one or two of these other payments, and that all starts looking a lot cleaner. So I know that's taken a lot of effort.
Yeah, I'm just
Amy, Amy, quick question. The Unite CT, is that for
Henry Newman.
Derek Napo?
No, that's not,
Okay.
not him.
Okay.
No, not at all. Derek Napo dropped off a check this morning
Okay.
for his rent. He got that. I think his was some type of training. They're paying for some type of a
Yes.
training for, yes. So that's what that is. But that had nothing to do with the rent. I don't know about them helping with rent or nothing like that. But I know there was
Right.
a thing. The other person was Damika Long. She's going to be, we won the case. So she'll be either getting evicted or, she has to leave by the end of the month of October. So, and, like she always says to us, have the day you deserve. Well, karma set side on her, and now she's going to have the days she deserved. But she kept on pushing and pushing it in court to go to trial, go to trial, go to trial. And I did everything in my power to make sure that we had everything in that file, that when I went and they asked me for something, I was able to give the judge every single paper that showed that we had made various efforts. We told her from the beginning that the rent would have been raised when she was being notified of her, certification dates and coming in on timely manner. And she just disregarded us altogether. So with that being said, we won the case, and now, we did get a portion. I don't know how we're going to get the rest. We'll probably have to go after her in collections, but it is what it is right now. So end of October, we should have the apartment back.
How many months do we wait for a tenant in arrears before we start an eviction?
We're doing it immediately now. We're doing
I
it.
see some like it's been 9 or 10 months in 2023 that they haven't paid. I know probably they've been in court probably for a good chunk of that, but so you do it after 1 month or 2 months or?
Yeah, the most we're letting it go is at the 2 months, especially if I'm already spoken with them and I'm already trying to help people, like immediately. So immediately I'm helping them with person to person. Same thing with Anna. Immediately we're directing them to get the proper assistance and help from any outside agencies. We call directly the agencies. We give them the information. We collect the information from the tenants so we could get them the right information to these places, the agencies that are going to be helping. And, we're trying to do things immediately now. We're not letting anything lag. But you also got to see that we also have the problem once we do send them to court, it's taking time for us to even get a court date.
Yep.
So it's for it to get on the calendar, it takes about a month or two before we get. And then that's already, we lost 3 months, 4 months maybe by that time before we even get an actual court date. So it's, we're going to keep on working with them and make sure that they're getting the assistance and help, whatever, since we see that's happening. So like we have one young lady, we have her in court right now, but she is actually, we don't know what her court date is yet. We don't have that yet. She hasn't been served yet, but we already got payment from DSS, a whole month's rent for her already. And we also have person to persons already promised that they're sending money. And then it's just now finishing her application off with community action. And then she'll owe only $87 herself. So, and then once that process is done, because it's like a month, 2 months rent that she's behind because she's lost her job and stuff. So by the time we get all the monies and she's already started a job, she's paid her 1 month's rent already. Now she's just got that extra 87 tacked on. She'll tack it on for the next month, or as soon as she gets paid, she send the 87, and then everything else will fall into place. And then we just cancel the case. But if we do it that way, it'll help alleviate all this extra that we're going through.
Did we get the black, Ben, did we get the black apartment painted?
Oh, it is, first floor, is white trim. Top floor is still black trim. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't look as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks actually better than what it was. So, yeah, we're pretty much, it's good the way it is right now. It's gonna work. Yeah.
Looking for tenants with interesting taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I am trying to get actually the young lady that she's gonna sit with Ann on the appeal on it. She provided me all her documentation showing that she tried to resolve this already, as well as she disputed it, and they also gave her paperwork saying that they have no record of her. So we have a whole bunch of stuff going on. So yeah, so hopefully, and she was willing to take the apartment as is as well. So that would have saved us a lot of. But let's see how the appeal goes, because her stuff is over several years old, and it was during before COVID, and then that's what that was over there when she was going through something.
Yeah,
But
just
she
so
was-
everybody knows, what happens in those cases is someone will present as an applicant, will run a credit and criminal check. The credit report comes back bad. Our procedure is to deny with the opportunity for appeal. So the opportunity for appeal is what they're going through now, which is essentially them saying, okay, this was 10 years ago and it was a cable television bill, and it's not a recurring item, in which case, if it's something minor like that, we would say, okay, on appeal, we're going to offer you the apartment.
Oh, one thing I noticed on the financials, Rick, and this, that are the tenants are not paying sewer, right? Are we paying,
not paying-
are we paying the sewer assessment now in Millport, like we are at Canaan Parish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was showing. I didn't see it showing up. Maybe I just missed
Yeah,
it.
actually, no. No, tenants do not pay it. I don't think Millport has been charged the sewer assessment in the same way
Canaan parishes.
Canaan Parish was or is. I have to look at that. That's a good question. I can't remember how that works at Millport.
I
Well,
don't.
don't ask too many people. So-
Yeah, I know. Well, if we haven't been billed, I'm not going to ask the question. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
So.
All sorts of bad jokes abound about that. Creating a crappy situation and all that sort of thing.
Right. Right.
And how
I
are the
wouldn't make
wait
a joke.
list?
I wouldn't make a joke like that.
Never. How are the wait lists doing on the units?
Yeah, I keep on getting crappy people. So I get crappy people. I don't know. I have a magnet for it. People, it's crazy because it's more for middle class. It's not really became affordable in the sense because we don't have as many people. All the people that are really applying are most people that need Section 8 or full assistance in, type assistance like that, like the Section 8 and so forth. But I get one or two here and there, and then they're like, they flop on me. They're like, yeah, we want the apartment, and then later on they're like, no. Or I had a gentleman that he qualified only for the 2-bedroom, but he only wants a 3-bedroom. But then looking at his numbers, he didn't qualify, and I told him, I said, I have to see what you qualify for. I would love to give you a 3-bedroom, but I don't think I can because I have to look at what you qualify for. So in looking at his qualifications, he did not qualify, and then he decided I went through the whole process with him, and then he decided he didn't even want the apartment because he only wants 3-bedroom.
Now, in general, I mean, one of the sort of like the rule of thumb that I've told people over the years is that, the 1-bedroom apartments you can probably get within a month or two, maybe a little longer, but within a month or two. But the 2 and 3-bedroom are typically multi-year waiting list. Is the reality that we even have problems filling the 2 or 3?
Yeah, because people don't make that type of income. They're not making a minimum of $74,000
for, you know, a 3-bedroom. They're making a whole lot less and they can't afford it. Well, I don't feel that we should disservice someone that's coming in and say, okay, well, you're making 60,000 or 65,000 a year. Yeah, let me just go right ahead and give you a 3-bedroom. No, because let's be realistic. You have the rent to pay, which is what, $2,069 for a 3-bedroom. And then you also have gas, light that you're going to be responsible for as well. Now, if you live in one of the townhouses, you also have water. So you got to figure tack on another $500 there, another $300 there, because the prices of gas and electric are triple of what we were paying last year in our home. So now people are using things less or whatever, and being mindful. But even then, it's another $300, another $200 for that gas and light. So it's $500. So you got $2,500, $2,600, and you can't afford $2,600 because on that income take home at the end of the day, you do not make that money.
Yep.
Because after taxes, I'm just servicing you. So in 6 months, you may have a savings that's going to help you along the way with this, but let's be realistic, you really can't afford this apartment. And I'm not going to be wasting my time putting someone that can't afford to really live there in an apartment that they really can't qualify for. And they're going to bring us more joy of me going to court and taking them out of the apartment in 6 months. That's sad. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make money. We're here to make this, you know, flourish here, not go backwards every 6 months, go backwards and have to deal with that. That's not the idea.
Well, I appreciate under the update of the notice, because I mean, one of the things that and Mike, for the Affordable Housing Commission and for all the other commissions that, you know, Peggy and Bernie and everyone else, you know, that you serve under, it's like, you know, 830G is not in New Canaan is not serving a need. I mean, it's just that here we are creating the apartments you want us to create, and there's not a demand for it. You know, if we did it as workforce housing, or we did it as deeply affordable, yes. But this need is again, it does fill a need, but it's not, you know, the fact that we have vacancies when housing is in such a short supply is showing that we're not doing something. You know, we're being told not to do something right. So something we're being told is not correct. All right. Anything else for our Westmount compatriots? Very well. Thank you, guys.
Right.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Good night.
Good night, Rick.
Good night.
Good night, Amy.
Good night, guys. Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amy.
Oh, shoot, I forgot it. Something tells me we've been told this answer a lot before and still don't understand it fully, but we can't get our Section 8 vouchers in New Canaan unless we actually have a real housing authority. I believe, paid staff housing authority.
We can't generate, and they can't be initiated because they're already allocated out to certain housing authorities in the state. So we go through Danbury.
I know, but we can only accept them. We can't issue them.
Right. We can't issue them.
And so there's been an allocation process, and that allocation process hasn't opened up for any more ever. But if funds don't get used, again, if we had, I mean, in theory, I mean, if we had a Section 8, if we were able to issue them, we might be able to get more demand than what they're getting. I don't know.
Well, I think too, though, if we were able to issue them, we'd have to staff up a lot. Just the administration of those is quite robust. But I mean, I think there are also several housing authorities in the state that aren't even allocating all of theirs, and they're not allowing the portability in some way. You know, I don't know that anytime before we're doddering, which may be tomorrow, the way I'm feeling, that we'll ever get 830G changed in a major way. But boy, there ought to be some way to have portability of the Section 8 vouchers. When they're not being used, somebody needs to use them, and they need to be used here in Fairfield County, where it's the economic engine of the state. They can have all the vouchers they want up in Northeast Kingdom, but that's not going to make any difference. The jobs aren't much there, except they're going maybe to Rhode Island or Massachusetts. So, yeah, and that's, I don't know, that, to me, that would be the legislative approach to take in Hartford, is to say, hey, you know, if you can't allocate them,
one-
they're going into a pool to be allocated where they're needed.
Yeah, but keep one thing in mind, vouchers are issued by HUD, which is a federal agency, and I
Right.
don't think the state can do anything about it. But there's been some rumors that HUD's going to increase the number of vouchers that are issued, which might help, but I don't think it should be something we should consider. I think what we need to consider is working hard to get this 830G modified, because it's not achieving what it needs to achieve. I keep saying that, and I'm trying to talk with legislators. Lamont agrees with some of the things I've said. They just got to get it going.
I mean, the one danger though is that, okay, how will they modify it?
Yeah.
Well, the percentage should not be the same for every town. It should be based on density per square mile, as an example. The other amenities such as
What does that
water,
mean?
sewage.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at a town like, there's some statistics. I sent something confidentially to Scott from this West Cog report. You look at some towns, they have 100 people per square mile. You look at another place, which is like another municipality, they have 400. There are more land and more people. You can get more things built. There are also a lot of municipalities that have buildings that can be repurposed, so they can create places for affordable housing. And I think money from the state has to shift in that direction. And there's a way it can be done, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, my worry would be they'd sit there and go, no, you're absolutely correct. And 830G now will really only, we'll take out the 80%, and we'll only count 60 or 40 and or less. And then you're just going, it's like, oh, people are killing us. But again, you're correct. It's got to get modified and people have to go for it. I've been so shocked as to the vehemence in which people will fight against any modification at all.
Well, Greenwich has been building a lot of small units where they built a small number of apartments, or maybe one or two affordable. And they've been doing it in Glendale. They're doing it in downtown Greenwich now.
I think the issue that comes up under a lot of that, though, is that Greenwich has a paid housing authority, and again,
Yes.
under the numbers, again, developers can go ahead and contribute for the density, but under the numbers, for us to do an individual unit, the town's got to chip in an extra 200, $300,000.
That's right.
So it doesn't go bankrupt. And by the way, I don't even know what it takes. Like they were talking about the, on Grove Street, if you have a single family home and you're trying to maintain it, what's even included under the affordable housing side? I mean, like, do we have to mow the lawn? Do we have to go ahead and provide the gas, the sewage? How do you take it out of the heat? How do you do whatever? And before you know it, it's like, there is no income. There's no income stream. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
all goes in operation, or you lose money on every unit you have. So it's like, geez.
So that's not a fit for us.
It's frustrating, and I haven't had a chance to Peggy, to reach out to the Habitat for Humanity folks. It's it's tricky.
Yeah, well, I know we are not in coastal Fairfield's catchment, but they are appealing to Habitat headquarters, but basically the international, to accept the fact, because I think Danbury's been building in coastal Fairfields, and so they're hoping to get that they're able to get into New Canaan, because they feel like that's a better opportunity than some of the areas up in Bridgeport. So I don't know, but they're doing some really interesting things legally. I think Mike, I sent you some information that Fairfield is doing some stuff with them up there, smaller scale, small numbers, but they're starting to make some progress with the land, but they have land. They have more land than we do. And I think they've also accepted, not necessarily everywhere, but zones where single family by right can be tweaked to build affordable housing. So, and that's kind of another third rail. Yeah.
Well, I think
we live dancing between those third rails. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Affordable Housing Commission is slowly almost formed and taking shape. And again, I think there's a whole lot of stuff in New Canaan that we alone, our commission should not be the ones deciding where and how much of housing should go where and how much money the town's going to put into it. And what do we find acceptable or not? And so I hope the Affordable Housing Committee can go ahead and help to provide some guidelines, and that can hopefully allow us to get started on stuff. Towns
Looks like it may not happen until after the election. Apparently, there's some political battles between the Republicans and the Democrats on the formation of it. That's what I heard.
Really?
Yeah. It's I think when it's kind of like McCarthy getting kicked out of Congress. I think it's like Washington being revisited in New Canaan.
You look at it, one of the candidates running for first selectman, said, we've got 30% of the electorate is unaffiliated. And that's a hell of a lot of talent in this town that, it could be tapped, and trying to figure out a way to stop battling between the R's and the D's.
There's a whole lot of things that'll, New Canaan goes through times when we have activist first selectmen, and then we have listeners. And we're finishing up with an active, and hopefully whoever's the new listener one will be able to go ahead and help pull some people back together and make some stuff hit. But and in the background also, and I think we've been over this before, and I'll just mention one more time under what I'm putting out to people under, should we be applying for a moratorium right now? And as I tell people, it's like, look, we have the points, we can get a moratorium. We ought to have an application, ready to go, teed up, that we submit if we ever need to, with the assumptions that the state's correct. Because let's say Santos Properties changed hands, and it was some sort of and we knew who it changed hands to, and it was some sort of a nasty developer who was going to do a cram down. Well, maybe the town needs to get a moratorium right away. But otherwise, it's my counsel to them, don't apply for the moratorium now, because I don't see how you can apply for it without going ahead and basically saying that the state's right and we agree with what they said. So we lose 60 some odd units. And then in addition, as long as I think I told you all that I did up a pro forma, which again, I'm not sure is right. I think, did I send that pro forma to you guys, or did I not? Yeah. And with that, it became a little bit scary that with the rents that are out there right now, we don't have as good a moat around us as I would hope. And there's ways to actually have the project be economically viable. That being said, it's kind of a stretch, and somebody has to get land, and I don't think anybody's ever bought a piece of property and submitted an 830G application off the bat. Typically, there's some form of negotiation. You try something else first. So hopefully, again, we get some sort of warning. But as long as, again, we've had an effective since Arnold filed his applications. If we had had a moratorium, nothing else would be different. So we've gotten a year's worth of extension on our moratorium because we haven't filed it yet. So that's just my counsel to the politicians. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you think I'm missing something? Is there other information out there that should be providing?
You make sense, but they don't always make sense.
I mean, at least the locals, I've talked to both Amy and Deanna and other people who are working their campaigns, and they both at least get that concept. Now I've had to talk to them a second time because the concept floats away a little bit, but I think they get that part. And again, I mean, any other thoughts or things to add to it, or stuff that
I'm curious what the litigators say who are handling the appeal. I mean, the appeals filed, on some type of appeals, there's like a toll, so that if everyone's rights are protected until the matter has been resolved on appeal. But if that's not the case, then do you make a filing conditionally, or that would be withdrawn later on, but to hold your place in line so that someone can't get under the wire underneath you with another application? I'm not sure how that works with 830G, but that's why I'm just questioning whether not just be ready to do it, but if there's a way you do a conditional filing that's subject to the outcome of the case.
That's a good. I mean, I almost got there with Tom Butterworth the other night. But that's actually another good point about under the appeal side, can you actually do it? And we need to research that and know that, because that's, again, we don't want to be doing this under time pressure. Right now we have time, so let's figure it all out. So that's a great point.
There's a ruling, and the ruling is that the town lost. So,
Yep.
and I mean, that's where we are in the law. So it seems to me that, the field's open for
Yep.
a player to go, on a frolic. So that's why I'm just wondering whether, you do it in a way to reserve your rights.
Yep.
Filing.
I'm texting Tom's Butterworth had asked me about this the other day, and I'm texting him right now under it, because that's, again, at the barest minimum, know these answers and have it ready to go, just in case, again, something strikes. That's great.
Is our
Okay.
town planner equipped to start working on, a skeleton of an application?
As I talked under Tom, it's like, look, they have the application, they have all the brute force information, and so it's just converting it. And it's like, you can either have the town planner or find someone to do it. Last time it took 7 to 8 months to find someone to do it, but most of it's been done. And odds are, if you gave it to the town planner and said within the next 2 months figure this out, they probably could. If you told them, by the way, someone's filing in a week and we got to get it in, then that's not as good a we're going to be in trouble.
I think the key is have it teed up,
Yeah.
ready. And if there's a protection, worst case, we have to file with losing the judgment, losing the appeal. But if we win the appeal, then it's not necessary, right? That's the case. So.
Yeah, I mean, if the attorney said that we're in a safe harbor now, you don't have to worry about it. That's one thing. But if we're exposed, then it would seem to me that, a judge is going to make the ultimate decision. And the fact that a filing was made with a reservation of rights to the pending appeal, I don't know how that hurts us. Hurts the town.
Yeah. Okay. Any other issues on anyone's minds, or?
Not at the moment.
All right. We'll keep trucking along. Bernie, you want to take us off record and we'll motion out? Oh, sorry. The one last quick thing is that woman I met with, Megan Warren, like, I'll get her last name, but she's a very nice woman. She's I don't know, in her mid to late 40s or something, kids getting out of high school. And she's worked for IBM and came from the Raleigh type area, been here like 10, 15 years, and very interested in finally, as she's starting to look up from, being a working mom to being a possibly retiring, and then also, having the kids leave at the same time, where to get involved. And she has somewhat of a passion for affordable housing. And so I've recommended that she sit in under the affordable housing committee that's coming up. I've offered to let her, listen in on our sort of stuff as best possible. I'm glad that I finally actually met her in person, because there's always one of those, you talk to someone on the phone and you're like, not positive you're not insane, but you sounded good on the phone, but when you actually look the person in the eye and have coffee for an hour, you get a better feel. So she seems like a really good person. And again, if it's okay, I'm happy to let her just listen in under any of this stuff. She did listen in on one of our public meetings, and she found it again interesting. And she's starting an education process for herself under really what are the issues and how do you look at stuff and how do you understand. So, and she may be somebody's ticket off of this board if they want it. So that's another important part, because nobody leaves unless you find a replacement. Got that?
With that, oh gee. Also, I spoke to Robin Bates Mason today, and she's heard back from the consultant or whoever it was on the recycling over at Millport. She said basically is that these people get these government grants and they're government contractors and they do nothing. It was terrible. So she says, I know I owe an answer to kind of get back over and do an information meeting with the residents over there, to like what's recycling. And also I asked her about the getting passes for the transfer station for folks. And she said that because they have garbage pickup, they don't qualify for the regular, as if they don't have garbage pickup. So I guess there's like a reduced, but I think there's a reduced fee you can get for if you have garbage pickup to use the dump. So
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether, why couldn't they get something, because I think, maybe, was it Wendy says she goes over and does the composting.
Yeah, but she has a
but
permit.
I know, but she had to buy that herself. Could we not get, $15 permit? So you've got the swap shop, you've got the composting, you've got recycling, and it's right there. If people want to get rid of their garbage, it's easy to do. To really talk to town hall and say, can we get them a reduced fee, even less than the 45? Because there are some people, as we see from these AR reports, $45 isn't, is a lot of money for some of them. So I think
mean-
it's still to be, maybe wait till after the election, maybe something will be open to it. I don't know what the, the downside is necessarily.
No, I mean, I think it's just getting it under it. The only downside is just trying to get it in front of people, because the reality is that, look, if 25 people get the dump permits, there's no more garbage going into our landfill. It's already going from us over there anyway. And so they get a little bit extra revenue, and it helps out housing authority, and it helps out the housing authority tenants. And and again, the cost is $200 to the town. I mean, it's nothing. It's just getting somebody to go ahead and carry the water to make it happen.
Yeah, with Scott, the reason we spoke about that initially with Rob when we had a meeting was talking about large bulky items, mattresses and things. Point is, if they got a permit, I doubt that people would bring it over there. First of all, how would they get the mattress over unless they have the use of a truck or a large vehicle? But that was the idea, and I don't know if that's going to work.
I mean, the hope is, and again, you're correct that, again, all it takes is one jerk with a queen mattress and it stinks. But if 20 to 25 people say, I'm not going near that dumpster again, I don't want anything to do with it, maybe that takes some more stuff off for other people. And it's unfair, but it is that there'll be some people that they'll just do it, and maybe that takes a little bit of the edge off. All right, so everyone look for the opportunity to talk to somebody, finance or town council or whatever else, and again, just see what that process is. It can't be that complicated, but everything's complicated. So
Yeah, but if you can imagine, even like $25 for the year, instead of if the 45, which is sort of like the regular, for composting. It's good for the planet. I mean, they can.
That's why they call it Planet New Canaan.
Yeah, well, then, and the swap shop is an opportunity to, to go over and pick up dishes, or go up and over and pick up pictures or whatever they need, that keep it out of landfill and not have to go buy it. So there's opportunities there. I'll keep talking to Robin about it. She is all for it, but she says it's just complicated because it's all the mechanics at town hall. But you just have to.
You're right. It's 45, but it's 120. It's 75 if you don't have a private hauler. If you have a private hauler, it's 45. And again, if we could get $20 knocked off, and again, that'd be a great one, just so you could ask the first selectman or something. But that's not how it works.
Well, maybe in a few months.
Yep.
So.
All right, super. So now, Bernie, do you want to go to? We'll go back to recording and we'll end.
Okay.
I think we've been recording.
Yeah, we have been. I know.
That's fine.
I was warned. They put two buttons up now, so I hit one and the other one is still on.
That's
all
fine.
All right, might as well close the meeting. It'll get recorded.
We have a motion to close?
I make a motion.
Second.
Great. And everyone in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all much.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.